familiar face from Duval, quarterback Mac Jones. The former Bulls QB came home to Jacksonville after spending his first few years in the NFL with the Patriots. Head coach Doug Peterson believes Jones has done all the right things so far with the Jags.
Hey, he's done a nice job. He's come in and came in early, and he's one of those guys that wanted to be in the building and just learn, and just another good piece to add to our roster, and especially to that room, and he's done a nice job. He's obviously the only quarterback this week that we have, and it's good for him so he can get all the reps that he can, and put himself in a position to really compete during camp.
The 124th U.S. Open starts today at the Pinehurst Resort in North Carolina. Listen live for updates all day on 1010XL. It's 90 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, bird lady.
Ladies, one of the best parts of our job, we get to talk sports. We also get to watch sports live during the show. So we've got the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2 on right now. And I will say, not all of our golfers have teed off yet, but Mia's pick looking pretty good as of right now in Ludwig. I say Aubert.
He changes it every other week, so we don't really know. But yes, Lauren, he is T2 through 13 at 3 under, 1 stroke back of your leader. And boy, I hope I don't butcher his name. It's also very appropriate, by the way, that he is French because, number one, the Olympics will be in Paris later this summer. Number two, we will have Noah Eagle, who was the voice of the French Open, joining us on Monday. So I need to practice my français. Mathieu Pavon. Joe Cowart, did I say that correctly? I sure hope I did. He's currently 4 under through 12, and he is your leader at Pinehurst #2.
I would have said it Mathieu Pavon.
Pavone.
That's how I would have said it, but we'll see. Yeah,
we'll try it out.
Joe,
I would have been YouTubing it, trying to figure it out.
Ludwig's out here changing the pronunciation of his name every other month. So, hey, listen, it's tomato, however you want to say it.
Truly, at Players, they have the little, shot link thing that we go to, and it has, how to pronounce certain ones, the more difficult ones. I'm not lying when I say theirs had Ludwig, and it said Aberg. And then later that day, as I'm saying that all morning long, somebody else was talking on air, and they said Aubert, and I was like, okay, well, that's definitely not what this said. And so I've changed it since. But all Players, I was saying it wrong, so that's fun.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk some college football where the names are just a little bit easier, I shall say. So Chip Patterson, yeah, sometimes it's true. DJ Uiagalelei. My cousin is an FSU fan, and she texted me over the weekend, and she was like, okay, I don't know how to say Uiagalelei. So I typed it all the way out, and we clarified a few times, and she's got it now. It's
I'm just
not that hard.
We eventually learned how to say Tua Tagovailoa. And nearly every sports fan, I feel like, is very comfortable in saying, as much as, yes, you probably prefer to just say Tua, and it's universally known who that is. I feel like Tagovailoa at the time, back in 2017, was a little difficult just because he was a complete unknown when he entered the national championship game. But I feel like we've gotten to a point where that one we've got down. So
it'll happen.
We just need DJU to, maybe compete for a Heisman or a national championship or at least the playoff or something like that. And maybe now, in his 6th year of eligibility, it will all finally get it.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, Chip Patterson put out a list on CBS Sports of the top 5 quarterback rooms in all of college football. Numbers 1 and 2, I think, are interchangeable. That would be Texas and Georgia. Those are also probably the 2 best teams in the SEC, with, of course, apologies to Alabama. But Texas and Georgia right now, I totally agree, wholeheartedly agree, have the best quarterback rooms. Most people know Texas has Quinn Ewers starting, Arch Manning backing him up, a 5-star prospect, and we all know the legendary Manning family that has produced a ton of great quarterbacks. And Georgia has homegrown Carson Beck, alongside Gunnar Stockton, who was also a 5-star, and Jaden Rashada by way of Arizona State.
By way of Florida.
Yeah, originally Miami, then Florida, but never went to either of those schools, ended up at Arizona State, and now transfers to Georgia, suing Billy Napier and some others. But neither here nor there. I think that's a great quarterback room as well because, of course, your starter is probably the best quarterback in all of college football, and that is Carson Beck.
Yeah. Who people say had a down year last year, and pretty much if you transplanted that to most teams, it would be a really successful season.
And Denny Thompson, the quarterback whisperer, was on, I think it was last week, and was asked about Carson. And this has, I think, been a common theme. Anybody who's worked with Carson or worked at the University of Georgia will tell you, with Mike Bobo coming back to be the offense coordinator, there was a feeling out period there. There's a reason that they were trailing or tied at halftime with the likes of South Carolina and some other perhaps gimme putts early on in the schedule. You could make the argument, kind of like some people have done in this town, that the verticality at times was challenged, despite the fact that Carson has quite an arm, and the fact that he has a treasure trove of receivers. So that's where I think the Carson Beck hype train took a little bit of time to get out of the station, just because the operation around him, they wanted to really start from the ground and build their way up, and they quite literally had to build their way. And of course, everybody sitting in Jacksonville is looking around like, what are you doing? Unleash the beast. I think he'll be unleashed in year 2 under Mike Bobo.
I do have a question for you two when it comes to that number 1 with Texas, because obviously most rankings and betting odds and everything you see is going to be Carson Beck and Ewers, usually in the top 2. But I'm interested with Arch Manning because I feel like in the tiny little glimpse that we have saw, it wasn't anything fantastic. Is that just you think he hasn't been, we just don't have enough sample size? And also, why wouldn't he be beating out Ewers if he was this 5-star Arch Manning that people have talked about?
So for people who don't remember, Quinn Ewers originally started at Ohio State and ended up transferring to Texas. So he couldn't win the job there, but I think that lit a fire under him, and he's been really good. And so as much as we expected Arch Manning to be able to take over the starting job, Ewers has been better. Arch did have a good spring game, and so I do wonder if for some reason, if Quinn Ewers struggles at all during the regular season, is there going to be that fan movement to want to see Arch Manning at some point in time? I think they have 2 really good options, and that's the best place to be in.
Yes, I think that's an argument you can make for a lot of players at the college or even the NFL level, Taylor, of if they were this highly sought-after recruit, if they were this heralded player, why haven't they won the job yet? If Arch Manning truly was this, what was the 5-star rating? His was like one of the greatest of all time, up there with Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. Then why hasn't he won the job yet? In the same vein, you go to a school who is not featured on this list, Lauren, and I'm curious to get your critique of, why perhaps there's a school that you feel like should be mentioned and they're not mentioned. And by the way, the school I'm about to say isn't even an honorable mention according to CBS Sports, and that's LSU with Garrett Nussmeier, who similarly 5-star recruit or 4-star recruit, Elite 11 guy, whatever, either way. And the thought of, well, if he's that good, why has he not beaten out Jaden Daniels, who many people thought that Arizona State essentially cast off and left on the scrap heap? And I think that it's because in the case of Jaden Daniels, well, he developed into a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah,
so that's why Garrett Nussmeier
there's your
couldn't
answer
win.
there for
But
that
if Quinn
one.
Ewers wins the Heisman this year,
Then
it's the
that'll be
same
the
exact
conversation.
trajectory because it would be his second year starting after he transferred in. And so that's why, if that's the case, I'm okay with it. And I'm also okay in a day and age in which players are so ready to just hop in the portal at the moment's notice of adversity that Arch Manning has said, I came to Texas because I want to play at Texas, not because I need to play right away. And it's the easiest path to play.
Yeah, in the spring game, over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns for Arch Manning. To answer your question about LSU, it's because Chip Patterson and whoever else helped him on the article have never heard of A.J. Swan or Ricky Collins, and those are the backups for Nussmeier. A lot of times when you do
They're talking about the room.
Quarterback
Right,
room.
the room.
Right, they're talking about the guys backing these guys up. So the reason that I disagree with his list, Chip Patterson has Ohio State 3, Oregon 4, Alabama 5. The names that you know with Ohio State, Will Howard, Devin Brown, you've probably never heard of Lincoln Keenholz or the freshmen Julian Sayin and Aaron Noland. By the way,
Julian Sayin people knew about because he was the first defect after the Saban retirement announcement. So I think that name's out there for sure.
They have a quarterback named Air. That's the first name of the other freshman, Air Nolan, which I found fantastic.
That's kind of
Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, former UCLA quarterback Dante Moore, and a guy coming in, Austin Novosad. And then Alabama, Jalen Milroe competing against, in theory, Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonergan, and then redshirt freshman Austin Mack, who followed Kalen DeBoer from Washington. There's a lot of names, but I didn't see a lot of talent there.
Pour one out
besides
there.
Jalen.
Yeah, pour one out there quickly, Lauren, just because of the timeliness of it. Tyler Buckner, the former Alabama
Back to
quarterback
Notre Dame.
who just won a national title with the Notre Dame lacrosse team. Oh, but now he's going to walk on at the Notre Dame football.
Play wide receiver,
Yes.
by the way.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, I had to get that in there for Taylor. Because it is funny when you look at that Alabama quarterback room in particular, because this time last year, it was shrouded with such mystery after Bryce Young's departure for the National Football League. I think everyone in Tuscaloosa, I think a lot of people nationally would tell you that Jalen Milroe was certainly, even during the preseason, the most talented. It was a question of could you harness that talent? I think there are those who would tell you through the Rose Bowl, can you harness that talent? And that will be Kalen DeBoer's charge. But it is funny because you go back to that South Florida game where I understand the weather, everything that could possibly go wrong for Bama. I'm sorry, High Tide on the South Side on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. But at the same time, Ty Simpson and Tyler Buckner and company showed me little to nothing. And I was like, why is this even a competition? As opposed to, if I look at Texas, if Arch Manning really is who I believe he is, if you go to, let's do it, Lauren. If you go to Florida, if DJ Lagway is who DJ Lagway is expected to be, there's more competition in those rooms compared to Alabama from what I have seen on the field.
And that, to me, is the whole point of this.
Yeah.
That's why I disagree with Chip, Taylor, because Florida has a better quarterback room than Ohio State, Oregon, and Alabama. Florida should be third on this list behind Texas and Georgia because you have Graham Mertz, who had one of the best, if not the best, completion percentage last year, and you have DJ Lagway, who, albeit as a freshman, but he's in Michael Jordan's new commercial for Gatorade. He's the Gatorade National Player of the Year. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to is Alabama, honestly. And it's one of the conversations when we do this when it goes to the NFL, and sometimes those quarterbacks that they think are one of the better quarterbacks in the league, the room kind of doesn't matter as much as, hey, they have a guy that's better than maybe what they think of other ones. And I know Jalen Milroe last year, towards the end of the season, really he started impressing a lot of people. He was one of the most accurate quarterbacks when it came to like full-on accuracy towards the second half of the college football season last year. But to me, that's it. It's the fact that it's Jalen Milroe, him coming off the end of the year he had, and it's Alabama. And I think, but personally, if you're talking about this article is about the room as a whole, if you're talking about the room as a whole, then you are talking about competition beyond that number one guy.
I do want to make one note. Thank you to the text line for pointing this out to us. We almost forgot, Lauren, as we went through the LSU quarterback room, that, yes, Trinity Christian product, Colin Hurley, is there.
He's listed fourth on the depth chart, which is why I didn't make it.
My understanding with Colin, which, hey, I mean, I don't think he's going to beat out Nussmeier, this with all due respect, and I think Colin would tell you as much because Garrett Nussmeier has waited his time, and this has been the plan in Baton Rouge for quite some time. Colin actually just turned 17, and so
My goodness.
yeah, he was 16 when he arrived in Baton Rouge, and so from what my conversations with people in his camp, my understanding is that, well, certainly he's going to compete. That's the whole reason he graduated high school early and he reclassified. This next year is about getting in the weight room, being at that physical level that you need to be a quarterback in the SEC, a starting quarterback in the SEC. And so it would be probably that next year that he's really competing. But yeah, certainly.
That is wild.
We're rooting for Colin.
He's there's guys in like year 8 of
that are
college
great,
football,
24 years.
24,
DJ
playing with
Uiagalelei.
16-year-olds.
DJ Uiagalelei, whose name we're going to be workshopping with all of you throughout the duration of this college football season. DJ is entering his 6th year of eligibility. He will be, if he's not already, 24 years old, and he is playing the same sport in the same Power 5 league, if you want to call it. Are we still calling it Power 5?
I think
Power
so.
4? He is
Power 4 plus 2 teams.
He
really
had
what it
Florida
is.
State has as realistic a shot at the college football playoff as 17-year-old, recently turned 17-year-old Colin Hurley at LSU.
Here are the completion percentages for last year. So Bo Nix, 77.4% with Oregon. Incredibly talented quarterback. That's why he was drafted in the first round. A guy named Jacob Zeno from UAB, 73.6%. And then back to the Power 5. Graham Mertz, Florida, 72.9%. Ahead of Carson Beck at 72.4%. You had Noah Fafita of Arizona, 72.4% also. And then J.J. McCarthy and Jaden Daniels right at 72.3 and 72.2% respectively. Those are insane completion percentage numbers. To think even when I was watching college football in college, I feel like the numbers hovered more around like 65% was like the top end. And it was more like a 60% completion percentage. These guys now, and I get it through the 7-on-7 and quarterback whisperers like Denny and his team, it is insane to me that we're going to have someone probably near 80% in the next couple years.
Yeah, it is wild. And I think different teams, obviously, when you'll see success for some of those if how the offense runs, and if the offense, because that completion percentage is counting those 5-yard slant passes and the intermediate 9-10 yard passes in the middle. So a lot of times you'll see the higher completion percentages around like a Tua, who is really good at those like shorter intermediate passes, quick. That's what Mike McDaniel's done. We've talked about that a lot.
So it's skewed.
They do get skewed a little bit, and that's why like when you go more into a lot of like when I was talking about Milrow, when it talks about like they do quarterback efficiency, and those ones account for beyond just like what exactly you're completing, but the difficulty of the passes that you are throwing. And Milrow's number was higher on that end of the completion percentage.
Is this the part of the program where we bring up the check down Charlies and we bring down the Graham Mertz stats? I'm just kidding. But keeping with that line of thinking, Taylor, you could argue part of why Graham Mertz was so efficient is that he didn't throw the ball downfield until midway through the season. Not that I don't believe he can't throw the ball downfield, because I do believe he can. I saw it at times at Wisconsin, but he wasn't asked to do that. And so that's where that efficiency plays in. I think it's interesting, and the point I was going to make is that we live in a world in which 7-on-7 football is the activity, the summer sport, the spring sport for so many of these high school football players. And in turn, because of that, and Coach Campo could speak to this full-heartedly, we've seen a generation in which so many of the same guys, maybe in the early 2000s, they all wanted to play wide receiver. If you're 6'1" and you can keep up with that wide receiver who runs a 4.3, why aren't you playing on the other side of the ball? Why aren't you playing corner? Why aren't you playing safety, DB? Because you can make a heck of a lot of money doing that, because the pool perhaps once upon a time wasn't as vast as the pool of wide receivers. And so that's why I think those metrics are interesting, because you would think that the level of defensive efficiency in the back end would have been elevated, because we have so many guys that are now specializing at the defensive back position.
All right, former Florida Gators national championship winning coach and Sporting Jacks women's team consultant Becky Burley joins us on the other side right here on Helmets and Heels on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Now a U.S. Open update on 1010XL, brought to you by Vaughn Motor Group.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 124th U.S. Open Golf Championship, sponsored by CDW. Make amazing happen. Ludwig Oberg and Matthew Pavon sharing the lead at 4 under in round one. At 1:14 p.m., world number one Scotty Scheffler tees it up. He says despite results this season, today is a whole new ball game.
I'm not thinking about my wins anymore. All I'm focused on is this week and getting ready to play. Just because I won last week doesn't give me any shots against the field this week. We all started even par, and yeah, the field is level again starting on Thursday, so last week doesn't really matter.
It is an all-star pairing for Scheffler, the world's number one ranked player. He's playing alongside Xander Schauffele, the PGA champion, and Rory McIlroy, 1:14 p.m. Eastern Time. With this report on the U.S. Open, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
All right, people, let's get this meeting started.
Where are the chairs?
Gone. Research shows standing meetings are quicker.
What research is that?
Topic 1. CDW helped us deploy Mac supercharged by Apple Silicon for the way we work now. So how's their speed?
Fast.
Battery life?
Long.
Cyber threat protection?
Strong.
Ownership costs?
Low.
Great. This meeting is...
Adjourned. Wow, that was fast.
Yep, that's the research.
With Mac configured by CDW, a solution that works for everyone isn't just possible, it's powerful. Find out more at cdw.com/getmac.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Mia here. Celtics, maybe the Mavericks, in the NBA Finals. Oh, boy, Luka. Can you figure out how to overcome a 3-0 deficit, become the first team in NBA Finals history to find a way to the Larry O'Brien Trophy? Goodness. Make sure you're in on the action with winning money using MyBookie, folks. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide. Cash out or let it ride. They tried to tell me that last night would be the Kyrie game. It wasn't. They tried to tell us it would be the Luka game. Luka fouled out, and he has more games he's fouled out than he's won in the NBA Finals. The Mavs are 1-point favorites heading into Game 4. It's do or die, folks. Give yourself a head start today. Play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make that first deposit. That is promo code 1010XL. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Enjoy the thrill of the grill at John Smith Subs, with specialty subs like the Steak Bomb, the Gator, plus a full lineup of cold and hot deli subs, including the best Cuban and Duval. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs on Hodges and JTB.
Make this Father's Day unforgettable by treating Dad to the thrill of international soccer this summer. Get 25% off a Stateside Cup Family 4-pack through June 16th. Use code FDS24. Tickets will go fast. Don't miss this chance to take your loved one to see Premier League clubs Wolves versus West Ham United take the pitch right here in Jacksonville. Get details and your tickets at statesidecup.com. Statesidecup.com.
I'm Hacker. Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists with new episodes every Wednesday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL Florida Gator Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or TuneIn.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Hey, it's Mike Dempsey, and you know how I feel about Pella Windows and Doors. Great design, strongest warranties, and the highest quality products. I even chose Pella Windows for my own home. And whether you're a homeowner replacing windows or building a new home or a trade professional working with clients, I know the design experts at Pella will help your project run smoothly and look great. Visit PellaJacks.com or the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. When getting pens with your company's logo on them, get nice pens. No one wants to steal a pen that doesn't work. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Electricians, innovators, and tech enthusiasts, listen up. Miller Electric is shaping the future, and we want you to be a part of it. From healthcare and data centers, corporate offices, aviation, and industrial facilities, Miller Electric is powering the most exciting projects in Jacksonville and beyond. We offer not just a job, but a thrilling career with great pay and incredible benefits. Visit us at millercareers.com to apply. Miller Electric, where your skills meet our vision and equal opportunity employer.
Your Jaguars game day, your way. Whether you want to see a division rival like the Titans, an NFC North opponent like the Packers, or a mix, deciding on your favorite matchups has never been easier with Bundle at the Bank.
Touchdown, Travis Etienne.
Get tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. It's as easy as pick, pay, and play. But seats are selling fast, so visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Hi, I'm David Lane, your average everyday Joe. I'm 5 months out of my back surgery with Southeast Orthopedic, and I'm doing great. Thanks to Dr. Herford and his staff at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. Playing in the NFL can put a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially your knees. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has kept me mobile and ready to tackle every day.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Me, O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Becky Burley will join us in just a moment. Patrick Cantlay is having a day now. He is atop the leaderboard alongside Mathieu Pavone, both at 4 under at the U.S. Open, Pinehurst number 2.
Patrick Cantlay in the lead. Let's say that holds. What time we think we're going to get out of there on Sunday? 9 o'clock, maybe. Yeah. Will the sun still even be in the air by then? I'm not so sure. I'm just kidding. Had to get that out there. But I would wonder, combined with the difficult conditions, I've seen plenty of folks remark on Twitter that this is certainly going to be a week, as we discussed with Mark Carnival of PGA Tour Live yesterday, that the course will be a hot topic, and is the course going to be the real winner at the U.S. Open? And I think if you combine that with the pace of play of Patrick Cantlay, oh boy, we could be in for quite the weekend.
Yeah, I kind of doubt he'll still be in the lead by Sunday, but certainly we shall see. All right, let's say hello now to Becky Burley.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Becky is the Sporting Jacks women's team consultant and, of course, former Florida Gator national championship winning coach, the former Florida women's soccer team head coach. Becky, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I love joining you guys. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. By the way, we had Todd Newton from Wolves join us earlier this week from the English Premier League, and it led me to wonder, do you have a favorite English Premier League team?
You know, I'm going to tell you, I spent my entire career with my 2 assistant coaches, one on either side of me, with both of them supporting different teams. And so I always felt like I was caught in the crossfire of Man U and Arsenal. And so I kind of had to be Switzerland and like both.
A little London Derby action. By the way, we found out this week, Becky, that Cam Little, the rookie kicker for the Jags, not only played soccer growing up, but he is a Man U fan. So I dare I say they are making their way to Northeast and Central Florida, those Man U fans. Some exciting news that before we get into the latest with Sporting Jacks, as well as those watch parties that you guys have had going on all summer, I did want to note a little bit of a programming update. That fact that the USL Super League is going to be broadcast every regular season and playoff match of the inaugural season, round of applause, RJ, on NBC's Peacock streaming network. Becky, if you could just describe, for the sports media nerds, yes, but for the sports fans as well, how massive a victory this is for the USL.
I think it's huge. I mean, here's the thing. People want to be able to easily access the content they want. And when you can find it on a major platform like that so readily, that is a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things. We talk about that in all sports, and we've kind of had that topic surrounding college football lately and with everything shifting a little bit. But when we're talking about USL in particular, for maybe some of the people, Becky, who are not totally familiar with the league and how it's going to kind of play out, obviously, here in Jacksonville, we're getting a men's and women's league. Who all is involved? How many teams are in this? Share some of those details for maybe some people who aren't so familiar.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna stick to the Super League side of it, and what's exciting about that is we have 8 teams that are starting in August, and those 8 teams, man, more power to them, because they are the first adopters, and they're going through this, and they're hopefully going to provide lessons to all of us going forward. But what's exciting about it is if you watch it right now, you're just seeing the signings come in, you're seeing the schedules come out, and it's like, it feels like it is so exciting to have a second professional league in this country for women, and the demand is going to be there. I mean, I look at the players they're signing, and I'm like, dang, how is this player not already signed somewhere else? You know, like, So I feel like the level of talent is going to be really great right from the start.
And Becky, another programming note, the last time we had you on, we knew about this, but we couldn't yet share it. And that is the fact that there is going to be, and it already started earlier this month, a show, a Jax USL show here on 1010XL.
I do like that, too. That's going to be so fun. I mean, anything that you guys are doing, I'm in for. So I love that idea.
Let's go to the big picture with Becky Burley, of course, a consultant working with the new USL Sporting Jacks outfit here in Jacksonville, and, of course, the former head coach of the Florida women's soccer team. Becky, what is the latest for you guys, and how did that watch party at Culhane's go a few weeks ago?
Hey, anytime there's watch parties, there's rabid fan bases. And whenever there's rabid fan bases, there's passion. And that passion shows through all the time. And, this is what I keep telling people who haven't really tapped into the soccer space yet. Like, I know there's rabid fan bases in a lot of sports, but soccer is a different beast. And it really inspires these people to be so committed to their teams. And it's almost like a lifestyle, not just a fan base. And so I think if you haven't done that yet, you should try it. Trust me on that one.
What do we have coming up? What are the watch parties that listeners can next attend?
Well, I know the big ones that are coming out. I mean, Copa America for the U.S. men's national team, that's going to be really exciting. And especially after last night, the performance that they put in against Brazil with a 1-1 draw. I mean, yes, everyone was kind of a little up in arms a couple nights ago after the Colombia match. But I think this team is a generation of players that we have yet to see in this country, and that to me is all pointing towards the future of the whole sport in our country.
And those watch parties will be June 23rd, June 27th, July 1st at Grace Note Brewing. Again, those are the 3 USA Copa matches. Let's talk a little bit about last night's fixture, if you may, Becky, down the road, down I-95, down I-4 in Orlando. Christian Pulisic is obviously the headliner, but who surprised you most on the USA side?
Everyone's talking about the goal, but they're also talking about Matt Turner in goal and the saves that he made, and there were some pretty brilliant saves. But I think really, when you look at how the whole team rebounded from that first result against Colombia, that's huge. I mean, it just shows the mentality of this team and their ability to adjust. And that's something that, people want to talk specifically about outcomes. What I'm really looking for is like responses to outcomes. And to me, that's what we saw last night.
Becky, are the coaches already decided for the 8 Super League teams?
I think almost everybody has their coaches in place. And it's a pretty good cast. I mean, we're seeing some legit coaches, leaders, and then they're bringing in this legit talent. And I think, what I have always appreciated about the Super League is that USL as a league, not just the Super League, but USL has been around for a long time, and they've been doing things really right. And that infrastructure, I think, is what we're seeing pay off now as a new branch of that. The Super League is starting.
Now, what about the players? Because you touched upon it a little bit earlier about how you were shocked that some of the people available are still available for signings. How does that go? How are they finding some of these players and the process of getting them on each of these 8 teams?
Well, I think what's really a big bonus is the international calendar, because that gives you access not just to international players, but also to American players who have been playing overseas on the international calendar, because it lines up with their ability to transfer teams. But I think what's been cool is as you watch some of the signings, there's some teams who are taking a local approach, meaning they're getting talent from their area, which is pretty cool because that's going to automatically generate some internal fan base. And then there's some teams that are sort of branching out and bringing in players from, whether it's internationally or whether it's from different teams where they're transferring in from. But what I'm excited about is just looking at literally the level of the talent that's coming in. I mean, these are experienced players. These are players who have played at many different levels that are going to bring immediate credibility to the league right from year one.
Couple more from Becky Burley on the All Pro Roofing Hotline, formerly of the Florida women's soccer team, now with Sporting Jacks here in Jacksonville. We've touched on Sporting Jacks, the men's and the women's sides, Becky. We've touched on the U.S. men's national team. Let's round the bases and let's touch them all with the U.S. women's national team. What have you seen through 2 games of the Emma Hayes era ahead of this summer's Olympics?
a lot of fun. This is going to be a blast. Here's what I'm excited about. There's a fluidity that you're seeing with this team that maybe we haven't seen in the past. And you could attribute that to some of the players that have been brought in, but you also have to attribute that to Emma Hayes and her management style and her leadership style. And I think she looks at the way she's coaching the team almost like an American football team where you have like your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator. And I think one of the things that she takes a lot of pride in is that attacking unit. And to me, my gosh, that is where we have so much talent, which also makes it hard because there's a lot of choices to be made there.
Yep.
But it's so fun to just watch the creativity and the fluidity that's coming out of that.
A quick follow-up. I'm curious, of those young strikers, for you, who's the leader in the clubhouse to make that Olympic roster? And secondly, I think we have to address what was supposed to be the biggest name heading into the World Cup before her unfortunate injury, but Mallory Pugh, or Mallory Swanson, as she makes her return to the national team.
Well, I think Mal is like a no-brainer. I mean, she's really come on strong, which is no surprise because she was in that form prior to her injury. But she's so dynamic. And then you look at like Sophia Smith, who obviously she was a known quantity going into the last event too, but still leading the NWSL in goals right now. Then you add in people like Trinity Rodman, Katarina Macario. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches. We're not even talking about Alex Morgan, who I think can still play a very, very valuable role on this team too. So it's just really, really fun to watch what's going to happen from a attacking perspective with this team.
Becky, do you still follow Florida sports closely? As in, are you still close to Mouse Holloway and also Kevin O'Sullivan and everybody still competing?
Yes. I mean, Mouse and I were next-door neighbors in our offices for my entire career, so we're pretty tight, even when he was an assistant coach before he came back as the head coach. And so to see him go 1-2 with the men and the women's teams there was super exciting. To have the baseball team still in the College World Series, especially after kind of a little bit of a roller coaster season, that's a scary team. I wouldn't want to play the Gators right now because when you peak at the right time, that's when you're dangerous.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate your time as always. We'll chat with you next month.
That sounds great. Thanks.
All right, there she goes, Becky Burley, former Florida women's soccer coach, won the national championship in 1998, and also the Sporting Jacks women's team consultant. Mia's got her My Bookie picks. When we return, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Expect acceleration.
He's got him. Oh, there we go.
Sunday at Iowa Speedway, brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower, 1010XL.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
Bolt City Heating and Air is here to keep you cool this summer. Anytime, any day, whenever you need fast, reliable air conditioning service. Their friendly technicians have fully stocked work vans so they can get your AC done on site the same day. Rely on a family-owned Jacksonville-grown company this summer to keep your home cooling system working smarter, not harder. Experience the bold difference. Visit BoldCityAC.com to schedule your service appointment. BoldCityAC.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Prime Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Prime Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 904-902-8222. 904-902-8222. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 904-902-8222.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 13, 1953, at the U.S. Open, Ben Hogan wins a record-tying fourth U.S. Open title, 6 strokes ahead of runner-up Sam Snead.
Are you looking for that perfect Father's Day gift? Look no further than Shooters this Thursday through Sunday, June 13th through the 16th. Shooters and Smith & Wesson are bringing you the largest Smith & Wesson sale of the year with the largest savings of the year. Click away with a Smith & Wesson M&P 1522, very affordable, just $429. Save $70. The most popular small frame defense revolver on the market, the Airweight 38 Special, for only $469. Save $70. The hottest selling concealed carry pistol, the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus 9mm, for only $399. You save $150. Get unmatched value with the new Smith & Wesson SD9 2.0 handgun for a low $279. Save $80. Shooters and Smith & Wesson Father's Day sale, the largest sale of the year, June 13th through the 16th at Shooters, 5085 University Boulevard West. See the full ad at shootersjacks.com. shootersjacks.com.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Take advantage of 0% APR on the versatile lineup of 2024 Mazda crossover SUVs. Lauren Brooks here. Choose from the off-road ready 2024 Mazda CX-50, the stylish 2024 Mazda CX-30, or the tailored for you Mazda CX-5. With 0% APR for 36 months, you'll find your perfect CUV. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expires July 1st, 2024.
Imagine a majestic cut of beef that commands attention the moment it arrives at your table. At Southern Steer, now through Father's Day, get your tomahawk steaks for $24.99 a pound.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
Hey Jacksonville, Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels for Big Chief Tire. For over 60 years, Big Chief has been known for fair prices and quality service you can trust. Whether you drive an electric vehicle or a traditional car, they carry the best tire brands to keep you safe on the road. If you're ready to experience great service without breaking the bank, visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule an appointment at any of their 5 locations. 904-932-0950.
In what building in the United States has its own zip code?
Does your homeowner's insurance company contact you before, during, or after a big storm? If not, then it's time for you to contact Southern Oak Insurance. Find us online at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
The only building in the United States with its own zip code, the Empire State Building, a 102-story high-rise built in 1930.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Prosser here, and if you are one of the ones that looks at your backyard area living space and thinks, wow, it needs an upgrade, Lifetime Enclosures is having a huge open house sale for Father's Day this Saturday, 10 to 3. Anything from glass or screen enclosures to full-on lanais and flooring, all in one place. The place you want to watch sports, enjoy your backyard, and just hang out could be so much better with Lifetime Enclosures. Come on out to Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring this Saturday from 10 to 3. You won't regret it.
RJ Saunders here, sports lovers. I recently took a tip from Frank Frangie when I needed to send flowers to my mother. Frank told me that Kuhn Flowers is the only florist he ever uses. So that's what I do now. I use Kuhn Flowers. Find them online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Our thanks again to Becky Burley of Sporting Jacks, formerly of the Florida women's soccer team, for joining us on the All-Pro Roofing Hotline. So we've touched upon soccer, college football, We've given you updates for the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2 throughout the duration of today on the Superstation. Let's hit a couple more, RJ.
Now, Mia's midday MyBookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
All right, so you probably already heard me say during the break, I am cautiously taking the Mavs -1 in Game 4. But before we get to Game 4 of the NBA Finals, we have Game 3 of the Stanley Cup. I like the Edmonton Oilers at home, one and a half goal, I should say, point favorites in that spread. They're -143 on the money line. You can get those Florida Panthers, the Rats, at +117 on the money line right now. Because, ladies, I'm not sure if you saw this yesterday. It's been a talking point throughout the duration of the Stanley Cup once this matchup came to be, that this is the furthest distance that teams will have to travel to face each other during the final round of the Stanley Cup between Edmonton and the Sunrise area down in South Florida. The Florida Panthers charter actually got delayed yesterday because they didn't realize how long it was going to take. I'm sure they knew how long, but because of weather and some other, look it up, because of weather and some other reasons, they were, I think it was about an hour or two late, according to the Miami reporters who flew up to Edmonton ahead of the team to cover the game. And so the press conference was supposed to be at 8 o'clock Eastern yesterday, 6 o'clock local time up in Edmonton, and it got pushed, I think, by almost 2 hours because of a delay with the Florida plane.
Were there rats on the plane?
That's a great question, Lauren. I think maybe MyBookie needs to add that as a prop for this game 3. So I do like the Oilers to get one back against the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup. You already heard us mention yesterday when we made our anybody but Scotty picks. I have Ludwig Uberg, who is currently +700 to win the U.S. Open. Be sure to click around on mybookie.ag to find all the various props and picks you can make when it comes to golf, because yes, they have, they have the overall winner for the U.S. Open. They have lines to make the cut. They have matchups, and so make sure you keep clicking around or scrolling around, and you will find the exact prop that you're looking for. And finally, because I knew you'd enjoy this one, Lauren, we have College World Series lines now available at MyBookie, only on the money line, so we only have winners and losers. The Florida State Seminoles +135 against Tennessee. The Vols are the favorite, and the Florida Gators +146 on the money line against the A&M Aggies, who are -208.
Don't be surprised if FSU beats Tennessee. I know Tennessee's the #1 overall seed. I get all that. But FSU has some guys that when they get to go through their lineup a few times, those guys are ridiculous. And so I will not be surprised if Florida State wins that game tomorrow. As far as our golfers are concerned, not a ton of updates because a few have not teed off yet, as in Xander Schauffele and Hideki Matsuyama. But you mentioned Obear, and then Colin Morikawa. That is RJ's guy. He's 1 over currently.
So no golf bets, but you're telling me it'd be worth it with these MyBookie midweek picks to parlay Florida State +135 on the money line and the Gators +146. Are we taking the 2 dogs opening round of the College World Series?
I kind of want to say yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Let's place it. And again, it's so easy to get in on the action. Just go to mybookie.ag, use promo code 1010XL, and you will get a special gift with that first deposit.
All right, the NFL is king. It's also a bit weird. We'll fill you in on that next on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL. Now a U.S. Open update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Vaughn Motor Group.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
With T-Mobile, you can save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, we'll pay off your locked AT&T phone up to $650, and you'll get a new 5G phone for free. Pay out via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Free phone up to $830 via 24 monthly bill credits with qualifying planning credit plus tax and $35 connection charge. Contact us before canceling to continue bill credits or they stop and required finance agreement balances due. See T-Mobile.com.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
Mia here. Celtics, Mavericks, NBA Finals. Can Luka figure out how to lead Dallas and take home the Larry O'Brien Trophy? Make sure you're in on the action, winning money with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot, cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays. And new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make that first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
The hottest trend in casual dining has expanded in Jacksonville with its 5th location off 103rd. The Flame Broiler serves up protein-packed rice bowls. It's fast, healthy, and affordable. Order online at flamebroilerusa.com or visit any of our 5 locations. Flame Broiler, simply healthy.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Mia here. You've heard me rave about my friends at Duck Duck Rooter, the #1 master septic contractor in all of Florida. But don't forget about Duck Duck Air Conditioning, the Jacksonville area's AC experts. The temperature is about to turn up a notch, folks. Should your AC not be working at your home or business, like me last summer, Duck Duck AC can help. Call 904-862-6769.
The coolest thing going on right now is the summer fan sale with 3 ways to save at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Browse their huge selection of high-quality fans to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Buy 1 fan, save 10%. Buy 2, save 15%. Buy 3 or more and save 20% off summer pricing on all fans. Visit their showroom near the avenues while inventory is still available and discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
I have done in my career literally thousands of joint replacements.
Meet Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, National Medical Director at QC Kinetics, an acclaimed orthopedic surgeon who now advises patients try all they can do to avoid the knife and consider regenerative medicine.
I myself was able to continue skiing for 10 years after my knees started to be a problem because I accessed regenerative medicine.
Now, after 20 years of study, research, teaching, publications, and clinical experience, Dr. Scheinkup is regarded as one of America's true pioneers.
This is the future of medicine.
Dr. Scheinkup came to QC Kinetics after seeing what they were doing around the country, helping tens of thousands of patients get lasting relief from joint pain with no surgery and no drugs.
QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Creating a strong offense presence was a top priority for offensive coordinator Press Taylor this offseason. Taylor spoke on his plans for utilizing wide receivers Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis in the blocking.
Their size helps. They're both big, strong, physical guys. For the most part, Gabe's done it in the NFL, which is a big deal. Brian will get him worked in on certain concepts. Everybody has to block. Sometimes it's the changing pictures where it gets hard. You have to block the 4 safety. Well, 4 safety could be front side, could be back side, somebody blitzing off the slot. And so you trust those guys that know how to do that really well. Having more of them helps us. It just helps you eliminate tendencies as you go.
The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp marked their 5th consecutive win last night, beating the Indianapolis Indians 3-1. The Shrimp and Indians get back at it tonight for Game 3 at 7:05.
It's 90 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Thursday afternoon. Weird things tend to be said around the NFL this time of year.
Said and done.
Maybe all times of year, but right now it seems like more because of the fact that there's not on the field news, so we tend to see these quotes and then run with them. So Jim Harbaugh, the Chargers head coach yesterday, said this about his athletic quarterback. Justin Herbert can play tight end and edge rusher if we need him to. Justin Herbert is, I understand he's a good-sized quarterback.
Yeah. He also said he believes offensive line is also a weapon. So, hey, listen, it's Jim.
Number 65 is eligible. Number 65 is eligible.
I'm so glad that the man who's afraid of chickens has come back home. He has come home to the National Football League. Although, hey, might not want to say that come January when the Jaguars and the Chargers are in postseason races, respectively, because I do think he's going to make Justin Herbert a winner, maybe a tight end, as well as a quarterback. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm very glad we're leading off this segment with Jim because
he's fantastic.
Because a lot of it's out of pocket, but a lot of it I think he truly believes.
He also said J.J. McCarthy should go first overall in this last draft. That was one of his things, too.
He also said he's the greatest Michigan quarterback of all time. There's a guy named Tom Brady who also played there.
Although J.J. McCarthy won the national championship at Michigan when he was there, Tom Brady did not, so I can understand at least that part of it. But J.J. McCarthy might end up being the best in this class. We have no idea at this point in time. I doubt it because he wasn't asked to do a ton at Michigan under Harbaugh.
A lot of people doubt it.
But at the same time, that to me is a little less crazy than Herbert being an edge rusher.
And that's why I was like, he's 6'6", 230, almost 240.
Yeah, that's a perfect tight end. Maybe
tight
a little
end,
light
that's what I was about to say. Tight end wise, I could see that, but edge rusher, no. Jim.
He would get worked. So that led me to wonder, what other position could Trevor Lawrence play?
I feel like he's pretty similar to Herbert, maybe lighter, obviously, 15, 20 pounds lighter. But so I would even
flex tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, he played basketball. He was talking with John Osher on the Ozone podcast about that, that if he, today he would tell you he would be a golfer if he could play another sport professionally. But, yeah, I think basketball, I go back to even when he was at Clemson after he won the national title, and Dabo had to tell him to stop playing intramurals because he was just out here dunking on people. And we know a lot of tight ends began their careers playing basketball.
Yeah, I could see definitely move tight end. I'm not sure I could see anything else though. I think he's not quite fast enough to be a receiver.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any position on defense that he could play. All right, go ahead.
I was just saying, because I think the one, when we talk about comparisons, and this is somebody who I just saw news on again today, and every year I feel like I forget about him, but Taysom Hill, how he's just obviously quarterback, but we see him at tight end. He kind of just plays both whenever he wants to, but he's smaller than both of them, Trevor and Herbert.
Which is also probably why the Saints had that idea, and it seemed good in theory, but it almost never really ended up working
fully
out.
Panned out,
for him. All right, another weird thing that we have seen and heard, Micah Parsons, of course, edge rusher for the Cowboys, believes he could hit for a 200 average in Major League Baseball. C.J. Stroud, by the way, immediately told him, no, you could not.
And it was funny because it was a podcast with Glassnow, and not with Micah and Glassnow. Glassnow was on a different podcast, and they said Micah Parsons made this comment, and Glassnow was like, has he ever played baseball before? And the host was like, no. And he was like, no way. And he was like, maybe out of 500 bats, he'd get 5 hits.
Yeah, Tyler Glassnow, for people who don't know, was a really good pitcher for the Rays, got injured, came back, but then ended up now with the Dodgers. And, he throws mid-90s on a bad day.
Yeah.
So Glassnow knows what he's talking about. And that's why we always like to have these conversations. Could athletes play a different sport?
Yeah.
And I don't think if you've never played baseball, even if you played college baseball,
still
very
difficult.
rarely are you going to see 100 mile per hour. Yes,
Yeah.
if you played against pitcher Paul Skeens when he was at LSU, maybe, but most of the time guys aren't throwing over 100.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these major league relievers are throwing.
Go ahead.
And by the way, Micah Parsons quote tweeted this podcast and was like, do we want to make a bet on it?
Oh, I would love to see that.
I know.
I know even like when we had the first pitch, the first couple years of the first pitch, the guys would go out there, and this was not a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, and guys would go out there, and ladies, and they would not connect with the ball because it's a very difficult thing to do.
I wanted to make sure that I had the facts straight. I don't believe Micah Parsons played baseball in high school. I do know he is a big fan of Penn State wrestling. He's a big fan of Greco-Roman wrestling, of course, growing up in an area where Penn State has won how many national titles in the last 20 years. I know he has a relationship with Spencer Lee, future Olympian, of course, was at Iowa, but is from that same neck of the woods in Pennsylvania. So I know he's a wrestling fan, so that's why the baseball thing is interesting to me. Did you know that Micah Parsons also is like an elite national level chess player? So I'm wondering if the chess and the wrestling background, which I would argue wrestling in terms of mano-a-mano, most difficult sports mentally, physically, it is the sport, in my opinion, that is the most difficult because it's just you out there, you against you, and yes, you against someone else, but it's so much about you. And I would argue that chess is kind of up there too. So the baseball thing it's fascinating to me that's the hill he's going to go to.
I think elite athletes naturally have this confidence about them. And that's the thing, like, Brian and I will be having a conversation. He'll be like, I can do that. And I'm like, really? And it's like, I have the confidence that I could do that. I'm like, because I don't have the confidence that I could do that. You put me out there, you give me a 50-mile-per-hour pitch, and I'm probably not hitting it.
Yeah, and that's what, to go on the Micah Parsons part, I think it's part of his personality is that, like, confidence and him kind of carrying himself as, like, I can do whatever. Because there was also another interview he was on with CJ Stroud, actually, where they were asking if he was in the NBA, how many points would he score a game, and he was like, I would average 20. And CJ Stroud starts laughing, and he was like, nah, that's crazy.
And that's the thing. Some people have reality or realistic expectations.
He's a freak athlete. I mean,
right.
hey,
but it doesn't always translate.
Look, I mean, we've had this conversation at my house and this is, of course, stemming from that NBA versus NFL debate, but imagine in this country, if we took our most gifted athletes who tend to be players in the National Basketball Association and the National Football League, and we forced them to play soccer, how good would the United States have been in soccer for the last 20 years?
See, I go against that argument because to be a super talented soccer player, you need more than just your size or your strength.
Right. I'm saying that, like, when Micah Parsons is, like, Pee-wee football and people are saying, like, oh, this dude's going to get a scholarship, and James Franklin's offering him 4 games into his freshman year of high school, what if we didn't have him on that trajectory and that pipeline? We made him play soccer.
Yeah, but your size and your strength don't necessarily make you a great soccer player. It's more about, and you know this, it's more about learning the game from a super young age, your technique. And yes, you could say that he would learn all that stuff, but you don't normally see these giant soccer players that are super successful, right? Like the best guys,
the
Ronaldo
U.S. then
and
have
Messi,
created like a whole new brand
of
right? Exactly. Like we could change the game.
Yeah, the speed guys. If you took the fastest
we have like
guys,
the Space Jam monsters out there. For
right. If you took the fastest guys
change it.
and you sent them overseas to Europe or to South America, and they learned soccer from that young of an age with the athletic ability that they have, sure, then you're talking about a whole different thing. But soccer is such a nuanced sport that you have to understand what's going on around you at all times. And a lot of the sports that we play in America, I feel like, are just a little bit different than that. But that's a whole other conversation. All right, another weird thing that somebody said, our good friend Anthony Richardson out of the University of Florida, he said, playing in the NFL, I feel like, is easier than in college. I feel like that's what you say if you won like back-to-back national championships, like your Stetson Bennett. You could say that playing in the NFL is easier than it is college, but you can't say that when you didn't really succeed at the college level.
I feel like you say that.
Or really play in the NFL yet.
Right, exactly.
So
you've only played 5 games, and even then you played half of them, half of those 5 games. I would argue you say that when Shane Steichen is your head coach versus everything that was going on behind the scenes with Dan Mullen, Anthony's first 2 years, and then everything that was happening with Billy Napier his 3rd year.
And see, that's what I'm wondering, if it's more so, not saying he's taking a shot at Florida, but more so his time at Florida and how there was definitely, he wasn't playing with these great Florida teams, so maybe in his head he was like, that was difficult to overcome some of the things that were happening coaching-wise and the players and the recruiting and everything else that was not happening more so.
I watched the clip. He basically went on to say that the players in college have less confidence in themselves and they require other people to do things.
Well, we know
for
he
them.
lost confidence. He was very vocal about that.
Yeah, so I think he's talking more like when you're out on when you're on an NFL team and you're out on the field, every guy is the best at his ability and every guy knows what he's supposed to do versus in college when you have 17, 18-year-olds and things like that. So I agree. I don't think I don't think he was taking a shot at the University of Florida by any means or his collegiate career. I think he was saying more, and plus, oh, by the way, I think he was also saying is you don't have to go to school now. Like when you're in college, you have to balance academics and athletics. Now all he has to worry about is getting healthy and playing football, learning the playbook. All right, well, we can't talk about weird things in the NFL without talking about and mentioning Aaron Rodgers. So,
oh, baby.
The 40-year-old
Let's do it.
He skipped practice this week, as we now know, for a trip. It was something he had planned long ago and something that he did tell his head coach, Robert Saleh, about in advance. The organization did know that he would miss the entire week, even though many people outside the building originally misunderstood it as a one-day absence. So we haven't figured out yet where he went on this trip, but we know that's why he was missing minicamp.
We also know, per Chase Daniel, and this was his tweet, that not only did he send yesterday on X, but he then pinned it. Wait until you hear where Aaron Rodgers is, ... instead of with his teammates, googly eye emoji. That's an expensive absence. And needless to say, the replies, I'm not sure if I can read some of them, but we will scroll through some because we're here to laugh. We're here to laugh. The dead period has officially begun in the NFL calendar. We got the next 6 weeks off. Let's do it. Everyone knows he's at an RFK event donating a lot of money. Is he doing ayahuasca in some rainforest cafe? Is he doing hallucinogenics in the dark? Did he fly to Brady's retirement ceremony? Is he replacing Joey Chestnut in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? He's on a Taylor Swift concert caravan, isn't he? So no, I don't know where Aaron Rodgers is. Where do you think he is, Taylor?
I truly couldn't care less of where Aaron Rodgers is, but I think it's funny. And to me, number one, Aaron Rodgers, and we know this from past other things that have happened in the past, he's really good at tiptoeing around the truth, but then making it seem like he was truthful, but like we didn't understand that he was being truthful. He's done that in the past at multiple things, and this is obviously off football topics and football topics. He's done this. When it comes to him, who he'll help if, there's new quarterbacks, and there was the rumors that he wasn't willing to help any of the young quarterbacks, and he kind of tiptoed around that topic. But I had quote tweeted this on Twitter because Nick Wright, who we love here, Nick Wright's been fantastic to towards the Jags and how they've built everything, and Trevor Lawrence and all of that. But he has his takes, and he's very adamant about his takes. But on this, I had to quote tweet it because it was hilarious. But he was like, I know some folks think that any Aaron Rodgers criticism is about a vaccine decision from 4 years ago that basically only Aaron still talks about, when in reality it's about him being one of the phoniest, most disingenuous athletes of our lifetime. And I, first of all, love that because I agree. But if you go listen to the clip, he's kind of going on about the start of this of Robert Saleh's comments. And because Robert Saleh was almost like, oh, it was unexcused and this is it. And Nick was like, Aaron's going to come back and make some shady remark towards Robert Saleh for not defending him in his days off. And then Robert Saleh is going to have to back it up and be like, I didn't mean it like that. We knew about it. And this is what Aaron Rodgers does every year.
Well, already, and this is to no surprise for those of you who have been following one of my favorite soap operas in sports over the last year plus, you have the New York Jets media and the New York media trying to defend Aaron Rodgers' decision, which is hilarious because they never defend anything. They're usually critical. But for Aaron Rodgers, they bow down to Aaron. And so this is from The Athletic. Two things can be true. Aaron Rodgers probably shouldn't have skipped Jets minicamp for a trip, and it's fair to criticize him for it. Number two, it's ultimately not a huge deal for a few reasons, especially since he was at every OTA practice.
It's also just a weird thing. You had like 2 more days, and then you have 6 weeks. You couldn't wait 2 more days until you went on your vacation?
That's why I want to know where he went, what was the trip. Like, I understand some people do plan stuff well in advance, but at the same time, to your point, Taylor, you know the NFL calendar. Yeah. You've been doing this for 20 years.
Like, you're not new to this.
Well, and then it's like, if you really wanted to be excused, which I guess he is, like, I mean, maybe that's not Robert Saleh's approach. because number one, you're coming back from an Achilles, and number two, this team was picking 10th overall this past season, and so expectations.
Because you played 4 snaps.
Right. So, again, it's different than here in Jacksonville, where Doug felt that because the team, for the most part, had near 100% attendance during OTAs, he felt it was merited to give the veterans off this past mandatory minicamp. And even then, as we talked about yesterday, I felt like, and I asked him about it, I felt like there were more veterans than there were even last year. And again, expectations weren't there. And so look, it's the coach's decision. And the problem with the coach up there, with all due respect to Robert Saleh, is that much like the media in New York, he bows down to everything Aaron Rodgers says, ditto to the owner and ditto to the general manager. And let's read one more just because Taylor and I were looking at each other. I have immense respect for Diana Rossini of The Athletic. This tweet, I just was like, what are we doing? Aaron Rodgers is skipping all of Jets' mandatory minicamp this week because he prefers to be somewhere else away from football. That is his choice. Okay.
That's just so.
Why are we tweeting? I understand you're trying, probably, I don't know, supporting Aaron, but why do we have to support? I don't know.
It was just a weird tweet.
Weird.
There was no point of that tweet to me. Because he wants to, okay.
To say, yeah, Aaron,
If Saleh
Aaron does what Aaron wants to do.
If Saleh knew that he was going to be gone, he could have taken the Doug Peterson route and said, I'm going to excuse the vets from minicamp, and then therefore it's not a story
This isn't a storyline
whatsoever, and then you can have whatever vets want to be here that are, whether they're recovering from an injury or they just want some more time around the building, they get to choose to be there, but then it's a non-story. But something tells me Saleh didn't know in advance, even though that's what they're trying to say now, and that's why he said it's an unexcused absence. Yeah. And so we'll see if he's going to be healthy and play the whole season.
Because imagine, relate it to this, if Trevor, coming off the way the end of the season went and everybody, all the criticisms of Trevor and talking about a contract year, if all of a sudden they were like, Trevor's not going to be here this final few days of camp because he has a vacation, but we're not going to, or he has something, we don't even know what it is, but we're not going to tell you anything. It's unexcused, but he told us a while ago, but it's not okay.
Yeah, it doesn't, the whole thing is very interesting in as far as just say what it is. Quit with this trip thing. Just tell us, did he go to Antarctica to find new ayahuasca?
Did he go to the moon? Is he going to stay? I'm just wondering.
Is he running for vice president? Is he on the Taylor Swift caravan tour through Europe? I will accept whatever it is. And look, again, it is his vacation. I'll give Rossini that. It is his life. He's allowed to do what he wants to do. He wants to zig while everyone else zags. But he also knows how to play that organization like a fiddle.
Oh.
It is just, and obviously, because
he did also the last year 10 years in Green Bay.
Correct, but it's even more so with the Jets because their jobs depend on him and how he plays.
Saleh knows that.
And Aaron knows that. So he's just out here doing whatever he wants because they have to curtail to him.
The group of Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, and Scotty Scheffler about to tee off at the U.S. Open. Yes, if you've been waiting around for 1:14 p.m., you have finally arrived as that group tees off right now. When we come back, we're going to get it to young players on the Jaguars roster who can take a step forward this year. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on Tension X on 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Now a U.S. Open update on 1010XL, brought to you by Vaughn Motor Group.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture, and the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
With T-Mobile, you can save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, we'll pay off your locked AT&T phone up to $650, and you'll get a new 5G phone for free. Pay off via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Free phone up to $830 via 24 monthly bill credits with qualifying planning credit plus tax and $35 connection charge. Contact us before canceling to continue bill credits or they stop and required finance agreement balances due. See T-Mobile.com.
Mia here. Celtics, Mavericks, NBA Finals. Can Luka figure out how to lead Dallas and take home the Larry O'Brien Trophy? Make sure you're in on the action, winning money with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot, cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays. And new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sportsbook. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make that first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie.
Let's fire up the flavor and ignite those appetites. Let's slow down and smell the barbecue. Because all your favorites are smoked for hours and ready for eating when you are. From our famous ribs to slow smoked pork. Enjoy some perfection by the plateful, safely in our dining room or in the comfort of your home. With curbside pickup, drive-through, and delivery. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
This is Dr. George Bari inviting you to look online at BariOrthopedics.com for the latest in medical advancements when it comes to getting you back to full joint health. After studying under Dr. James Andrews, I know proper diagnosis is the first key to treatment, and educating the patient is the fastest path to recovery. Whether it's chronic back pain, nagging arthritis, or necessary joint replacement, we're here to serve you in the best possible way. We are Bari Orthopedics and online at BariOrthopedics.com.
Find out more at BariOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Pull up a chair at the table for some Saturday afternoon sports talk with Compton and Company.
So you want to talk about this or what?
Join Compton and Company noon to 2 Saturdays for more conversation about the teams you care about most.
I have questions. I need answers.
On 1010XL.
I'm Patrick Young, inviting you to the Florida SBDC's Network Small Business Success Summit, August 19th and 20th at the Sawgrass Marriott in Ponte Vedra. If you're ready to learn, network, and be inspired, I'll be delivering a keynote message you won't want to miss. Secure your spot today by registering at floridasbdc.org. Hey, there's no time to waste. Right now is the right time. I hope to see you at the Small Business Success Summit in August.
Hold on tight because All Pro Roofing is unleashing some electrifying news. Brace yourselves for instant excitement. Instant roof quotes are here. Simply surf over to their website and hit the Instant Roof Quote tab. Boom! That's your ticket to a lightning-fast estimate. Head over to allproroofingllc.com. Click that Instant Roof Quote tab. What are you waiting for? Click on the Instant Roof Quote tab today at allproroofingllc.com.
License number CCC 1327056.
CDC 060138.
Cross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right, Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit dreamfindershomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders, I believe they will build your home just right.
I've got 2 words for you. Incredible inventory. Where? Is this incredible inventory? At the one and only Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. Why Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned? So many questions, but thankfully I have the answers. How about over 600 vehicles in stock, one location? That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups, over 30 Jeeps, over 50 luxury vehicles on the ground in stock at one location. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18,000. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program is now double. That's now 60 days to decide if you love your purchase or come on back and exchange it for one that you do. Worried about financing? Don't be. Arlington's Credit for Everyone program is here to help you get financed. You even get a complimentary car wash with every scheduled service. Shop Arlington Pre-Owned in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
International soccer returns this summer. Don't miss Premier League clubs Wolves and West Ham in Jacksonville for the Stateside Cup, July 27th at Everbank Stadium. Tickets as low as $35 at statesidecup.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got some exciting news from Leonard Truck Outfitters and their new location on Beach Boulevard. Stocking brands like Real Truck, UWS, WeatherGuard, Carry-On Trailers, and much more. Grand opening celebration June 28th, starting at noon with tons of special promotions and giveaways like a brand new golf cart.
Did you know Duck Duck Rooter is the area's go-to plumber? A 5-star Google-rated company, Duck Duck Rooter can take care of all of your plumbing repairs and upgrades. Need to switch from septic over to city sewer? Call the Duck. How about water heater repairs and replacement? You're just a duck away, or call away, for Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
on 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Let's get it to the young Jaguars who can take a step forward this year. Mia, I'll start with you.
Young Jaguars who can take a step forward. I'm gonna go a little off the beaten path here. I'm gonna go with a guy who I don't think we're talking about nearly enough, because I do think he's gonna make this roster. And while I think that there is certainly a path for Jarian Jones to be when you have a cornerback at the nickel position, as opposed to Darnell Savage stepping into the slot, I think Christian Braswell will make this team. I know he's a fan favorite of the special teams staff. He obviously got hurt last year, hamstring injury, 6th-round pick from a year ago. When you look at his measurables, his raw athletic score, and I'll pull it up here in just a second, it is actually almost a mirror image of Trent McDuffie of the Kansas City Chiefs. And so if only in terms of his athletic profile, that's a guy who we've discussed, All-Pro, Pro Bowl, pillar potential out there in the Midwest. And I'm not saying that Braswell's going to be that, but I think when we talk about this young player who can take the next step, the obvious one from a year ago, look, I'm not going to go to the obvious ones. I'm going to go to the one, if we're talking in the weeds, was Buster Brown. I don't think anybody would have sat here 1 year ago and said that's the guy who's going to win you a game at the Superdome on Thursday Night Football. And so that's how I'm approaching this question in that vein. I don't think that Braswell will be necessarily a starter, but I think he's going to give you depth, and knowing that Ryan Nielsen's going to be playing that positionless, there is a depth chart, but there is no depth chart style of defense where he rotates guys in and out. I think that's a guy who will become one of your core special teamers and will be a part of this onboarding process to get second-year guys into the mix on the depth chart.
You go ahead, Lauren.
Okay.
I have two, so I'm going to see if either of these are yours.
All right, so I'm going to go with a guy who will be a starter. And last year he did start some, but he is now playing a different position. And that's also in the secondary, but Antonio Johnson. We saw him play nickel last year. Now we expect him to start at strong safety opposite Andre Sisco, the free safety. And Antonio Johnson, as a starter on that back end for this football team, is going to be expected to be really good right away, because they just had Rayshon Jenkins at that position, and Rayshon made some game-changing plays the last few seasons. And so they're going to expect Antonio Johnson to do the same thing. He's got length. He's got athleticism, speed. The fact that he got on the field last year as a rookie, I think, was fairly impressive, especially at the time that he didn't, we didn't know exactly what position they really drafted him to be.
Yeah.
And so can he be a game-changing safety? That will be determined, but I think he can be. You have two.
Yes, so my mind immediately wanted to say Tank, but I feel like that was too obvious. So I'm going to go Ventrell Miller. I think that we obviously didn't get to see any of Ventrell, and I know that the reason the Jags liked him so much and the reason they drafted him in part was his versatility and what he can do on the defense, and we've talked so much about how much Ryan Nielsen likes that. He loves the guys who can play multiple spots and they can move him around, and there can be the rotation that gives some guys a break, then we're not having to play the amount they did last season. And so I don't think technically he's going to be this pivotal starter, but I do think he has a place in depth, number one, which we've seen how quickly that can change as injuries come. The one thing that obviously we want to see, he had 3 straight seasons with an injury, so a big thing for Ventrell is going to be able to stay healthy this year. But I do think that if he stays healthy, although even maybe a little undersized, I think he can be a pretty solid role player on the defense.
And who's your other one?
Well, the other one is going to be Tank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think certainly there's going to be guys like Tank Bigsby and Britton Strange who we're going to lump in together as guys that were drafted fairly early last year and for whatever reason either didn't see playing time or when they did get playing time, didn't take advantage of it. Those guys, I think, are going to be asked to do a heck of a lot more this season. And then, of course, there's the rookies. You've got your star in Brian Thomas Jr., drafted 23rd overall. You've got Jarian Jones that Mia mentioned. You've got some guys in Javon Foster where does he see his playing time? Is it strictly depth for this year? Is he a depth piece? Or does he actually get to start at some point in time because if things have not gone right? And then Mason Smith, certainly the second rounder, how quickly does he get into the defensive rotation? What did they view him playing as, right? And so, or what position do they view him playing the best? And so those guys, I think, like you said, were all guys that clearly the Jaguars are expecting them to make an impact this season.
Yeah, and I think another one that we have talked about a decent amount, and just because of the conversations in the wide receiver room, but Parker Washington. We've seen videos of Parker, and he looks fantastic. And I think that last year, some people may have given up on Parker Washington a little too early, and then you saw the glimpses of last season. But as we've been having this conversation of how many wide receivers are the Jaguars going to keep and how that affects, I think we all obviously had the Kirk Davis, Brian Thomas, and I think all of us lumped in Parker Washington too, and Duvernay. So beyond that, what happens? But some people, obviously, what happens this offseason really determines which of those spots Parker Washington's really in.
And I think a big part of that Parker Washington question, because I agree, he's had as great a spring as anybody by multiple accounts from what I've heard. He's your 5 then, right? In that wide receiver room, we're looking at keeping 6 or 7 because that's what the Jags have done in the past. That's what most NFL teams have done.
Duvernay your 4th?
Duvernay's your 4th because he has to be on the roster because he's your primary returner, and he also gives you more value as a pass catcher than perhaps Jamal Agnew did the last 3 years. And so that means Parker's your 5. That 5th spot, which has been occupied by Tim Jones for much of the last 2 years, needs to provide special teams value. Is Parker Washington the other returner in this new kickoff rule system opposite Devin Duvernay? But you also went out and you drafted Keelan Robinson, and also Tank Bigsby returned kicks and punts for you at times. And
which people say running backs could succeed in this new
kickoff.
format.
Right. And so that's where that becomes the question. If he's going to dress on game day, what value are you actually getting out of him versus that 6th or 7th spot, traditionally more of the developmental, whether that was Parker a year ago before the injuries to Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, whether that's Elijah Cooks last year, whether that is you go down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's where, is that where that undrafted free agent rookie who breaks through, maybe they are the 6th or 7th, is that Elijah Cooks? Or do you say, well, we need Elijah Cooks as that 5th wide receiver because he's the bigger bodied guy, but then you also still have Tim Jones. So the numbers game regarding those players in that room is going to be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the more fun. We talked about the secondary a ton, but the wide receiver room, not the 3, obviously Brian Thomas we're excited about, Gabe Davis, even seeing more of him, but the later, that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th maybe option for wide receivers is going to be really fun to keep your eye on.
And that's the thing, like we talked about a year ago, everybody was up in arms, those two. They have to keep Elijah Cooks, or they have to keep this guy. And in the end, that player doesn't contribute that much to the football team. You'd like, when they get in, to have a couple receptions or to block, be good at blocking. But at the end of the day, that person is not going to get your football team usually to an extra win or two.
You're lucky if they're going to play. And then it's a question, too, and this is something we can talk about for another day at some other positions, too, because I think there's a couple different log jams where you say by virtue of a 16-player practice squad, we have the luxury of, well, even if we put this player on the practice squad, we can call them up, and that can create depth or an extra body or whatever if there's an injury. But here's the problem. Are you comfortable with saying we're just going to stash Elijah Cooks on the practice squad this year because he would be subject to waivers, and is someone going to claim him, which was the concern last year that the Jaguars had all these wide receivers and they're all going to get claimed. Not one of them was claimed. And so that's where I think that it's also important to remember that not only is this 6th, 7th wide receiver probably not going to play all that much for you, at least early on, even if they were to be claimed by somebody else, they're probably not playing for them. And so, therefore, do they even have the ability and the roster space to claim them?
All right, let's head back out to the All-Pro Roofing hotline.
Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Our good friend Dimitri Ravanos joins us, writer for Barrett Sports Media and also our former consultant here on Helmets and Heels. Dimitri, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Oh, Lauren, thank you so much for having me. Ladies, I could not be more proud than to hear helmets and heels on in the middle of the day on a weekday.
Why did it take you so long to join us? That's on us, Dimitri. Like, I'm shocked we didn't have you week one. I'm going to raise my hand and blame us for that. But so good to hear your voice, friend, and so good to see all the cool stuff that you're cooking up, not only with Barrett Sports Media, but with your Young Gun Pod. You joined us on the kickoff show ahead of the Panthers game on New Year's Eve. And, of course, college football, which is the reason that you're joining us here today, is we kind of take a big picture look at the college football landscape, not only on the field, but what it means for media rights deals.
Yeah, I'm excited for the season, Mia, just from the standpoint of I want to see in practice what a 12-team playoff actually does to the health of the sport later on in the season, with more teams still alive for a national title. But with us entering this new era, we are entering a new stage of media rights, and boy, it just happened at, I don't know if you want to call it the right or the wrong time, but certainly one of the extreme times for both the networks and college football to need more money all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think in your article you said ESPN, Fox should do all they can to protect college sports investment. And as you go through this, Dimitri, I think there was a lot of things that stuck out to me and a lot of things that I think I also realized that maybe I don't fully understand about how all of this works now, and especially how it will work moving forward. So let me start with that.
Sure.
How do these TV deals work? You know, the bigger schools, the SEC, Big Ten, when they have contracts with a Fox or a Disney, whatever that may be, do opposing schools who play them then get a portion when they play that whoever does have the contract or deal?
They do not. They are usually paid out up front if they are a smaller school. So, like, I don't know, who is Florida's body bag game in week one?
Samford.
Oh, no, they have Miami in week one.
Yeah.
Samford.
Is Samford actually
okay.
a gimme? I don't know. Your Alabama folks may be able to tell us differently.
Very fair. But Stanford will get paid an amount right up front, and then when they do something like, let's use UCF as an example instead of Miami, because UCF is in the Big 12 and their media rights are split between Fox and ESPN. When that game is in the Swamp, the money goes to the SEC TV deal. When that game is in what is it called, Bright House Network Stadium down in Orlando, that money is going to go to the Big 12 TV deal. So when it's big conference versus big conference, Taylor, it just goes to whoever the home team is. And when we are talking about one of those smaller teams coming in, they are paid out up front.
So, Dimitri, your thesis statement was college athletic departments will soon be sharing as much as $21 million per year with their athletes. Where is that money going to come from? You suggested it comes from television. This is the first that I've seen anyone suggest this. Have you seen this anywhere else?
I haven't. I thought about writing this because I heard Bomani Jones on his podcast casually mention, without going into detail, that if he were a executive at ESPN or Fox and he heard an athletic director say the words private equity, he would be very nervous. And I started to think about what that means. And look, everybody knows an example of what the worst case scenario is. It's just not in the sports world. Look at what Red Lobster is going through right now. That is a company that took private equity, and private equity makes its money back by stripping out value, by cutting costs, not by improving the product. So when you look at ESPN not just having the TV rights to these games, but also owning so many bowl games, owning ESPN events, which puts on all of those college basketball and college baseball invitational tournaments, why would you allow private equity to make your investment? We're talking billions of dollars of investment. Why would you allow private equity to make it less valuable?
Just to clarify, Dimitri, so this is how the media rights money is being divided up to those schools. Correct me if I'm wrong.
What is? I'm sorry, I'm not quite clear on what you're
the point I'm going to get at, on the heels of the NIL legislation and all the conversations about how athletes since 2016 will be compensated for their name, image, and likeness, the damages that they did not get to make that money, and the question mark of how much money the NCAA or whoever the entity is going to pay universities to then divide them among to their student athletes. My question for you is, are you suggesting that the media rights be how the football program is funded, and as far as that money that's going to be given to universities, that is going to pay for other athletic programs?
Yeah, I mean, I am suggesting that basically ESPN and Fox and anybody else that has television rights renegotiate to make sure their product is healthy. Where that money goes ultimately, Mia, is going to be up to the individual schools. It is as much as $22 million, but every athletic department has to set aside 20% of their operating budget to pay athletes. However they get to that figure, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I still think NIL collectives have a role to play here. But if we get to the point of schools taking private equity money, if I am a media partner, I know that means less competitive, less interesting product on my network.
Right, which that's the conversation we've been having, which is when this money is disseminated, whether it's through the TV rights, whether it's from the NCAA itself, the question of, is it on the commissioners of the conferences to decide this is how we operate in the SEC? X amount has to go to this, X amount has to go to that, or is it going to be school by school? Because at this point, from everyone we've talked to here on this program, it sounds like the school by school Wild Wild West is the direction we're headed.
Yeah.
Well, also, Dimitri, when you start... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, right ahead, Taylor.
Oh, I was just, on that same note, because when you start talking about this, and obviously there are certain schools that are more so a football school, there are schools that are, the basketball school, the baseball school, whatever it may be, do you see a future where this starts getting messy because, a certain program is saying, we're bringing in all this money, why aren't we getting a larger portion or the majority?
So I believe that the athletic directors that are talking about having to cut sports, I believe that's a lot of fear-mongering. I really do. I mean, we are in the era of, look, NIL from what we had when I was a kid is very different, right? And what we are going to is very different than NIL, with schools paying players directly. Morally, to me, there is no question that this is what schools should be doing, right? There is nobody that decided to go to the University of Florida from out of state more because of marketing material than because of Tim Tebow. Like, that's just the reality. These are the most valuable marketing employees that any university has. That being said, like, Taylor, to your point, I think the thing that saves this or that keeps these schools in line, football's got to break away from the NCAA. The NCAA is built for equity, and that's great, but football is such a behemoth that it cannot operate within those same bounds. So I would advocate for football being adjudicated completely differently so that those other programs can be treated and those athletes can be paid according to what it is they bring in.
Dimitri, Brett McMurphy tweeted this out under an hour ago. The Big 12 is in discussions with Allstate on a naming rights deal to change the league's name. So I'm assuming it would be the Allstate Big 12. Isn't that going to help bring in additional money as well?
Well, on the heels of that, and real quick, Dimitri, Dennis Dodd of CBS also reporting that the Big 12 is considering a private equity investment up to $1 billion for as much as 20% of the conference. So Brett Yormark is out here just trying to make money.
Well, listen, Brett Yormark has always been out here just trying to make money. That's why the winner of the Big 12 championship game got the trophy presented to them by The Undertaker last year in football. I think my understanding, Lauren, is it's going to become the All-State 12, not the All-State Big 12. Yeah, I mean, it is a great way to generate some money. They are talking that deal in the hundreds of millions of dollars, so I don't know what the term is on that. I know that in America we are not used to, or the idea of logos and slogans on jerseys is very new, but there is a reason that the healthiest soccer clubs in Europe are as healthy as they are. Everything is for sale, and they have trained their fans that what matters is what is happening on the field, not the logo. Like is it Emiratis? Is that the big airline that controls Manchester City? Has the thing. I mean, look, Emiratis has nothing to do with the way that club is run. They just have their logo on the jersey. I think that's probably what we're headed towards to make this work.
So, I'm seeing, by the way, Big Allstate or Allstate 12. Big Allstate is atrocious.
So if you don't like Allstate 12, how do you like the Luxembourg-based CVC Capital Partners appearing on the jersey? Because this proposal of a possible cash infusion of $800 million to $1 billion from this private equity firm that the Big 12 is exploring and having conversations with would be in exchange for a 15 to 20% stake in the league. A portion of that money would go directly to the 16 conference members, and the partnership would give the conference access to CVC's investment services and clients. Dimitri, it's a very interesting time that we are living in. This, to me, is fascinating on the heels of the Florida State getting out of the ACC. Would they have to take a loan? That's where I want to kind of pair those two things together, in which we are seeing athletic programs and now conferences saying that we are going to essentially get our money from elsewhere, not just from what we are generating and from our media partners.
Yeah, 1,000%. And Florida State is in a really interesting situation, and it's going to be a case study for schools all over the country, because I know Florida State thinks they have a soft landing spot in the SEC. I've talked to people at the SEC. They absolutely do not. The SEC does not value Florida State. They do not value Clemson. So Florida State is going to have to figure out in this new reality, is it more valuable to be in the Big 12 than the ACC? I think it is, but not significantly. Or is there a way through investment, through donors, through all sorts of new means to exist as an independent? And honestly, outside of Notre Dame, I don't know that that's going to be possible. It's about to require so much more money than ever before.
All right, Dimitri, you can find this article for everyone, barrettsportsmedia.com. Dimitri Ravenos, thank you so much for joining us today.
Ladies, I love you all, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Like I mentioned earlier, Dimitri was our consultant for a few years for Helmets and Heels. We really appreciate his insight. And just to clarify, the NCAA doesn't have anything to do with the amount that's paid per year to these athletes from the institutions. Each conference and really each school gets to decide how much they're paying to the student athletes. The NCAA does not determine that. I just wanted to clarify that. All right, we've got
because
one
the
segment.
schools can also say no, by the way. They do not want to be involved.
Yep, that is 100% correct. All right, we've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
There's a new one-stop shop for all things Florida State. Subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles YouTube channel, up-to-the-minute updates, analysis, and more. Plant the spear and subscribe to 1010XL Seminoles channel today.
Lauren Brooks here. When I'm craving fresh, local shrimp, there's only one place I go, Mayport CNC Fisheries. I'll be there this weekend, as a matter of fact, getting Mayport shrimp ahead of Father's Day. To all restaurant owners, Mayport CNC Fisheries is your wholesale seafood go-to. Eat like a local, Mayport CNC Fisheries.
Now a U.S. Open update on 1010XL, brought to you by Vaughn Motor Group.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 124th U.S. Open Golf Championship, sponsored by Staybill. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Staybill. Visit staybill.com for more information. Patrick Cantlay nearly flawless at Pinehurst number 2. 1 bogey on the day, 6 birdies. He is in the clubhouse with a 65, 5 under. Ludwig Oberg is 1 back at 4 under. Tony Finau, Matthew Pavon at 3 under. Sergio Garcia playing in his 25th consecutive U.S. Open. He squeezed in as an alternate after losing in a playoff and qualifying in the clubhouse at -1. Even par today, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler, Justin Rose among those in, now at 1 over. And Tiger Woods, 4 over par today, a 74 for Tiger. With this report on the U.S. Open, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Imagine the perfect outdoor living space, a beautiful stone kitchen, waterfall, fire pit, pergola, stone walkway. Now there's one place to bring all of your design ideas to life. The Art of Natural Stone on Beach Boulevard and also by Bartram Springs.
The moment you've been waiting for has arrived. The Poker Atlas Tour is blazing its way through Best Bet St. Augustine now through June 16th. Get in on the action with 7 poker events, highlighted by the $600 No Limit Hold'em title event, boasting a $200,000 guaranteed prize pool. You can also dive into our $300 event 1 with a $100,000 guarantee. Join us at Best Bet St. Augustine for the Poker Atlas Tour now through June 16th. Head to bestbetjacks.com for details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Get recruiting tips and advice from area coaches, pros, athletes, and their parents.
So you gotta up your game.
Plus, better ways to train as B3 Better brings you the Amateur's Edge Show, Saturday from 11 to noon on 1010XL.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
You're shrimping the best.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home all weekend at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. It's Coors Light Thirsty Thursday tonight and Pride Night. Tomorrow is Red Shirt Friday and fireworks presented by Baptist Health. The first 2,000 fans Saturday get a Red Caps hat with more fireworks presented by Florida Blue. Then it's Baptist Health Sunday Family Fun Day. DaxShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
This is Hayes Carlion for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
It's the Alhambra Theater's biggest summer show, perfect for the whole family. The Alhambra Theater presents Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, based on the story of Joseph and his journey from humble dreamer to Egypt's favorite son. Presented by Atlantic Self-Storage. This big Andrew Lloyd Webber musical will have you singing out loud. To see this amazing show, go to alhambrajacks.com to learn more about Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. alhambrajacks.com.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you wear contact lenses and you're between the ages of 18 and 69, the Vision Research Center is looking for participants in clinical research studies. If eligible, you'll be compensated up to $50 per hour. I've done these contact lens studies for years. The VRC staff is wonderful and they work with my busy schedule. See if you qualify. Visit their website, 188visionok.com. 188visionok.com.
Hey Jaguar fans, I'm Donovan Darius, former 10-year NFL All-Pro Jacksonville Jaguars safety. I'm hosting my 8th annual youth football tackling technique camps all throughout Jacksonville. With over 50 skills and drills, these young athletes will learn everything it takes from me and my coaches to be effective on and off the field. This camp is for kids ages 7 to 14 for June 18th, June 20th, and June 24th. To sign up your kid, go to DariusNextLevelTraining.com. DariusNextLevelTraining.com.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Lewis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Lewis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. So my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Lewis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
You sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
June is Men's Health Month, so I just got a total body MRI scan. It was really simple, quite comfortable, and it only took about an hour. Total body MRI scans for abnormalities that may need attention soon. Be proactive with your health this month. Call Ackerman Cancer Center to learn more about total body MRI.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
My takeaway from today's show, I disagree with Chip Patterson's list of the top 5 college football quarterback rooms. He has Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama 1 through 5. I think Florida should be on there with Graham Mertz and TJ Lagway.
Mine is that college football is just going to start getting crazier and crazier because I think that with NIL, with now high school kids starting to get paid here in Florida and other states, obviously we're going to see a lot of shifts. Now the college football playoff is going to be expanding, so I feel like in 10 years it's going to be almost unrecognizable to what we're used to, but it'll be a wild ride.
My takeaway is they're changing the name of the Big 12, a 16-member conference, but they're still going to call it the 12. Yeah, because that makes sense.
Either Big All-State or All-State 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't they just say, like, all 16?
Nope. Not part of the brand, Taylor. Not part of the brand. So I guess maybe because we lost the Pac-12 and they're trying to remember it in memoriam.
Let's pour one out for the Pac-12.
Keep it right here for U.S. Open updates all day throughout the show. By the way, the Jumbo Shrimp last night did win, so they are off to a good start this week against the Indians. Back at it tonight for Coors Light Thursday. First pitch 7:05 for Mia O'Brien. For Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next. These heels are made for talking. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Feel Good Friday.